My name is Hap Harris, and I'm going to differ a little bit from the way Sean produced it, talked about himself. I'm going to give you a history of me and why I can honestly look you in the eye and tell you why I truly think that I'm most qualified of the three of us. I was born and raised in Augusta, graduated Richmond Academy and University of Georgia. When I got out of school, I helped start a weekly newspaper. It was a handful of pages thing. And they asked me, I had a degree in advertising, they asked me to sell advertising. I built up a staff, I had 8 people under me. And in a few years, we were grossing $500,000 a year. Now, maybe that's why I didn't get the endorsement from the newspaper, because Billy owned the Athens Banner Herald at the time, I don't know. But the point is, I had to hire people, I had to fire people, I had to work with budgets, I had to manage, plan, and these things are important in your inner self when you walk into the Marble Palace. Following the Georgia Theater, a buddy of mine and I started the Georgia Theater concert hall. Some of y'all may have heard of it. We unfortunately picked the wrong time with the right idea. Jimmy Carter was the president. We wanted to capitalize. The city of Athens did not want to have a place holding 700 people drinking, coming out on the street at the same time. It was tough, but we opened. And 3 years later, we were saying goodbye. Now, everything that we dreamed has come around. Athens now absolutely loves the Georgia Theater. I mean, our visions were there. We were thinking ahead. And unfortunately, I feel sometimes like maybe I was the first wife of the doctor, not the second wife of the doctor, but the other guys always did very, very well. And, but I had to negotiate for bands, and negotiating with the roadie on the bands, I promise you, is more difficult than working with the budgets that we deal with. This is a different world altogether. But the point is that has added to my fiber on why I feel like I can sit down with these people and talk to them. Now, when I left the Georgia Theater, I was in debt, big time. When I left Athens to come back to Augusta, every single person that I owed in Athens was paid. I literally moved back to Augusta for $1,200, a used car, a TV, a stereo, and my clothes. But everybody in Athens was paid off. I had to deal with the SBA, and I looked them right now and I told them I was not going to go bankrupt. If they would work with me, we would work through this thing. And it took a while. My accountant laughed and said, you know, if you ever wrote a book, I'd be an entire chapter on how I kept the SBA at bay. But we finally reached where we're now on speaking terms, and I don't owe them any money. And so I want y'all to know that, because it's tough. It's easy to walk away from something. It's not easy to sit there and manhandle it and come to the right answers. But I did what I had to do. I didn't think my parents would appreciate me doing something like that. They were gone. But the truth is, I buckled down, and I worked hard, and I dug out a very, very large hole. Following, when I got back to Augusta, I had a couple of jobs, but I ended up being hired as a territorial manager for S&H, well, Sperry Hutchison Corporation, which y'all probably remember, S&H Green Stamps. So I'm talking to a man about a piece of paper that's green on one side and blue on the other, and I'm asking for 3% of his gross. And I'm the #1 salesman in the country. A couple of years later, I had about 350 salespeople. Now, I'm not telling you all that because I'm bragging. I'm just telling you that people will buy from a snake oil salesman one time, but people who continually work with somebody year in, year out buying. I mean, that's a trust bond that is developed. It's pretty much a lifetime of building that trust bond up. It's not something I take very lightly at all. Moving right along here. S&H, unfortunately, the top management played fast and loose, and they ended up closing, and I ended up looking for a job, and I ended up with Sanford Brooker Banks Insurance, which was Sanford Corbett Brooker back then. But anyway, I went to work for them, and this June I'll start my 27th year with them. Now, I say that also because they were kind enough, they said, look, you'll start getting started, we'll give you a salary, a low salary, and then as soon as you're up and above that, then you're on your own. I said, I can do this. And about, within 2 years, I've never looked back. I haven't been on salary since then. I mean, I'm paid basically, but I'm paid on what I did the year before. And I can honestly look at everybody now, and I've never once took a cut because they said, well, your sales are down. Now, when you deal in the insurance business, I have to look you in the eye and tell you more times than not something you don't want to hear. Politicians, on the other hand, can sit there like Don Quixote and say, tell you everything you want to hear. But the truth of the matter is, and again, I'm emphasizing this because I don't want y'all to think that it's real easy to go fly into the Marble Palace and have a magic wand. It does not happen that way. If you're not in a position, one, to work with these other commissioners and build up a trust with these guys, which is what I've been doing for the last 6 months. I've been representing the 7th district, but I've also been working, having these other 9, which is, 9 different personalities, 9 different lifestyles, 9 different economies they come from. And if they don't trust you, they're not going to work with you. And so the point I'm trying to make is that there's a reason that people trust me. I'm incredibly proud of it. I do not take it lightly. And I do it, I'm doing this because I finally reached, I'm in a point in my life where my book of business, knock on wood, is strong. We got grandchildren, but my lifestyle at home, I can come and go to these meetings. The time constraints are phenomenal. I just think you go to the meeting, do some stuff, and go home. I found out that's just the beginning of it. That's like the down payment on the car, then you find out there's a payment every month. So I also want to point out that I didn't really seek this position. I had been asked to run before, and I knew I wasn't ready. I wasn't going to tackle something that I could either mess up my family life because I put too much time over here, and I certainly didn't want to mess up something over here because I was trying to balance both of them. I'm at a point in my life now where balancing them is not that difficult. So I had people ask me. So when I decided, well, the time is right, I went ahead and threw my name in the hat along with some others. I want you to know that I didn't politic for the job. I told each commissioner one time only. I was told later, which I kind of took with a grain of salt, that they were getting calls. Oh yeah, well, and I had somebody ask me, so well, you need to call them back with mine. I said, I've called them once. I've told them who I am. I've told them what my credentials are, and I've told them that I'm willing to serve if they will ask me to serve. And then they all voted for me over the others. There was there's all this talk about hand picking and being in somebody's pocket and all this sort of stuff. That's not even that's not even close to being accurate. And I've had people, I think Grady's in here somewhere, people said, well, you're Grady's partner. Well, Grady and I butt heads probably more than I do with some of the other commissioners. And they'll tell you, I don't think twice of telling him what I think, if I think he's wrong. So the point I'm trying to say is I've built, all my years of work experience has allowed me to build up my self-confidence and belief in myself that I can look people in the eye and say, you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to tell you because I'm not going to tell you, I'm not just going to blow smoke. So anyway, my name is Hap Harris. I am your commissioner. I would like to return to be your commissioner, continue. And I want y'all to know that in reality, y'all have a 6 months worth of investment in me because I go back in March as the elected commissioner. I don't spend 6 months trying to learn how to do this job. I've already learned where one of the other candidates would basically be where I was in October, which is you lose easily a handful of months just trying to figure out how this all works. It's a kind of a confusing deal. It's not something that you just don't jump in there and do it. It's an ability to work with others. I've shown that over the years that I'm more than capable of doing that. Again, I say I have a track record to stand on. And so with that, I'll say thank you and I hope you'll support me.